Rufus was always proud of my work and supported me wholeheartedly in pursuit of my goals even when those pursuits took me away from our home. While I was away, he continued working at Scarborough's and took care of our home in Austin. In 1933, I graduated from the University of Cincinnati, and became the first Black woman in the United States to earn a Ph.D. in psychology. Without the love and support of my husband, would not have been able to achieve this accomplishment. My work rivaled and oftentimes exceeded the work of my white colleagues, but with racism rampant, I was forced to continue to accept minimal wages for my work. I returned to Tougaloo College for the 32-33 academic year to work as a faculty member while still working on my dissertation. In June 1933 my dissertation was approved, when Dean Louis Augustus Peckstein, head of my Doctor of Philosophy program at the University of Cincinnati, wrote Mr. Holmes, the president of Tougaloo College. I can remember Mr. Peckstein's words like it was yesterday. Mrs. Prosser was accepted for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education last week. Mrs. Prosser developed into a first-rate graduate student, a very keen and penetrating thinker, and will, in our judgment, be a fine leader in the educational work with Negro college students. I am glad to give her my special commendation, for it is never an easy task for a member of her race to pursue successfully the arduous course attending securing the doctorate degree. This she has accomplished with dignity and credit. When I arrived at the University of Cincinnati in 1931, there was a research program focused on African Americans in different school environments. The department's general consensus was that all Black schools with Black teachers could best provide the skills Black students needed to survive in a society where most faced limited opportunities. By insulating Black students from white abuse, segregated schools were crucial to the formation of Black identity and could become unifying community centers. My dissertation, The Non-Academic Development of Negro Children in Mixed and Segregated Schools, became an important text for issues relating to education, reform, social development, racial identity, and other prominent topics related to segregation. It was a companion study to Mary Crowley's 1931 dissertation, A Comparison of the Academic Achievement of Cincinnati Negroes in Segregated and Mixed Schools. When I began collecting data for my study in November 1931, Crowley was able to assist in getting the same institutions to cooperate in my research. My interest in the topic grew out of a desire to determine objectively, so far as possible, the degree of truth in the often repeated statement that the Negro child develops superior character traits, more racial self-respect, and a greater concomitance of a well-rounded education when he is placed under the direction of Negro teachers during his formative years. I explored variables that I believed were personality indicators, and believed that mixed school caused irreversible damage to Black children's mental health, and that was the true risk behind that kind of environment. I sought to examine the difference in personality and mental health between Black students in mixed and in segregated schools. In 1933 and 1934, I produced 7 articles, titled A Monthly Magazine for Teachers in Colored Schools in the Mississippi Educational Journal, which was the official newspaper of the Mississippi Association of Teachers in Colored Schools. In these articles, I focused on topics such as English literature, composition, grammar, and overall subjects that would help improve the teaching of English in colored schools. I spent 1934 actively improving training for teachers who worked in Mississippi's colored schools. I was planning a summer program for the teachers at Jackson College and would guide workshops in programs for teachers. I finished the Jackson Summer School program, and on August 28, Rufus, my sister Kitty, and I were coming back to Mississippi after visiting family in Texas. Rufus was driving Kitty and I, and near Shreveport, Louisiana, we were involved in a head-on collision and I was ejected through the windshield. Everyone was injured, but my injuries were most serious. I was transported to the Tri-State Sanitarium in Shreveport, where I died on September 5, 1934. My body was sent back to San Antonio, where I was buried on September 8, 1934. On October 14 a memorial service was held in my honor at Tougaloo College. At the time of my death my personal property was appraised at $5,500. I had a $200 share of stock in Pearl River Oil and Gas Company of Mississippi, $300 cash in the bank and $5,000 worth of property in 6 houses and 6 lots in Travis County. Of father and mother's 11 children, all of us graduated from high school and 6 of us went on to earn college degrees. Rufus and I never had children of our own to carry on our legacy, but he remained close to my family after my death. 15 years after my death, when father died in 1949, Rufus was a casket bearer along with my brothers Dupree and Bert, my nephew Leon Jr., and my sister Lucille's husband. My research was used to fight for school desegregation in Brown versus the Board of Education in 1954. In 2008 I was honored by the American Psychological Association, and the Foundation for Psychology in Ohio established a fellowship in my honor, the Inez Beverly Prosser Scholarship for African American Psychology students. I thank God that my hopes were not buried with me.